Today we're going to talk about spinnerbaits. Spinnerbaits are a reaction lure. The willow and Colorado blade, which is called a tandem, and is most popular here in Australia, sends out, via spinning, sonic vibrations. The silicon skirt wiggles and gives it lifelikeliness. I also like to put on a rubber or a plastic onto the main jig hook. This gives, especially a T-tail, that kicks and carries on. I also like to put a trailer hook on the end of that through a plastic tubing. You can stick it onto the main jig hook, and anything that comes near it, bang, is gone. So it looks so lifelike. It's important to have the heads of the spinnerbaits that look so lifelike. This one is a bony brim colour, and it's made to mimic their food source. Now this spinnerbait is meant to be cast and to work the areas. We call it a slow roll by constantly winding the handle in non-stop. But if I like to pause, every so often I'll pause for just a split second or two, and then I'll give the rod tip a bit of a twitch, and that looks and gets the fish's attention. I'm injured healthy, and they think easy meal, bang, you got a hook up. I also like to put on the main plastic on the jig hook there. I like to run scent, always run scent on my lures, because if it swims and carries on and looks lifelike and it smells lifelike, you can bet your bottom dollar that you're going to hook up a lot more fish, because they're going to think that it's food. So that's a very important thing here too. Another good aspect of spinnerbaits compared to minnows, lipless minnows with 3 trebles, it's only really got one hook point, unless you put a stinger hook on the end, which I normally do with the plastic tubing, then I'll have 2, but it's pretty snag proof. Now I'll show you. I run it over my arm here, and it won't hook my arm here at all. It'd be pretty funny if it did. It'd make a pretty good blooper, but it's pretty snag proof, and for that reason anglers will use the spinnerbaits. Like I said earlier, this is my confident lure. When I know it's really tough and hard and not much is working, I'll always go back to a spinnerbait. Even though it is a reaction lure, there's just something about it that when all else will fail on a big Australian bass, I can feel confident that if I put in the hard yards and the hard work, I will catch a good Australian bass on a spinnerbait. So that's spinnerbaits. Okay, here in Australia, our spinnerbait sizes have really shrunk or downsized. The wire hoop is noticeably a lot smaller in profile, so an actual spinnerbait that we use here in Australia are quite small. If you have a look at it in comparison to my hand there, you can see that it is half the size of my hand. So we do that because our Australian bass are very fussy, and a lot of the times we got to find a way to trigger a response in them biting, because a lot of the times the bite period will be very tough and very hard. I also mentioned earlier on that we slow roll these, which is just a constant slow retrieve with a couple of pauses and a couple of twitches, but sometimes to entice these strikes from the lazy Australian bass, we have to burn and kill it. So that is meaning a cast out, let it sink, and then burn it back as fast as you can go, and then kill it for about 3 seconds, then burn it and kill it after 10 seconds. And you repeat this process about 3 times until the spinnerbait's burnt back to the boat. Many a times the bass will hit you right at the boat, just as you're ready to leave or lift your spinnerbait out of the water. For that reason I do a figure 8 when I know the fish are really biting right at the boat. It can really shock you, and it can be quite a surprise. Now colours, I've already mentioned the bony brim, which is a white with a bit of a blue sheen, like a blue herring, and over in the States. We also use the gold. Gold and black is a very popular one. When we get a bit of overcast clouds and a bit of the sun goes away, we tend to use the darker colours, particularly the blacks. The blacks are very good, and black brings out the big Australian bass, which not a lot of people know, but they soon will now, won't they? Okay, so blade combinations are very important. Like I already said earlier, tandem is more popular in Australia because it gives it a bit of a wobble, and because our spinnerbaits are working so much deeper than shallower, that's why we choose to go for the tandem, small Colorado and the willow on the end. If we're working shallow, a lot of anglers just tend to sort of not let it drop so quick. Some do use the big Colorados for catching cod. That's getting off the topic. And I have used at times the willow, which the single willow leaf will give it a better drop and fall if you're burning, killing, hopping it over the bottom especially, and that works quite well. So I hope you enjoy those tips on spinnerbaits, because spinnerbaits, when it's really, really tough, is my go-to lure. I will go back to this lure to put fish in the boat, and it very, very rarely lets me down. When I know that I want to catch a big Australian bass, I'll always go back to the good old spinnerbait.